Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Football Talk. And today I will be reacting to 10 things we need in college football 26. We need it, baby. We need it. This is another Eric Rayweather video. Shout out to him. I will leave the original video link in the description down below so y'all can check that out by yourself if you want to. But man, we need it. Ooh, I can't wait to see what he gonna talk about. And yeah, I'm not sure what would I want to see. I didn't get to play 25 guys, so I don't know. Better defense. Mate, I think he gonna say something about some defense. I think he's I think he's gonna talk about that. Better defense. But we shall see. Without further ado though, let's jump into it.
5 being halfway over, and with EA already at work on College Football 26, I wanted to make a video of the 10 biggest things I personally want to see in College Football 26. Now, some of these things have already been rumored. There's already been some leaks around some of these things as well, but nothing has been 100% confirmed just yet. And although I thought 25 was a really good game, there's definitely still a number of things that I and many others would like to see in the game, and I'm hoping that at least a good amount of these things make it in for 26. Now, to start right off the bat, the first thing I definitely want to see in this game, more so for everybody else, not just myself, is high school and Road to Glory. I know that this was one of the biggest complaints of 25, that this was not in the game, and although personally I thought high school in the older games was too easy and almost like a chore to play through, it is still an important part of the mode that people fell in love with, especially the process of getting offers.
Okay, I just want to pause right quick. The high school thing. I remember when they first, when it was first announced that it wouldn't be any high school, and my initial reaction was, oh, okay. I felt like a lot of people did not actually like the high school anyway. Or if they did, they just wanted to run it up to 100, 101, 200 points. But they didn't really care. But then when, the game got released, and then I started, seeing videos and on different platforms about how, oh, why they take out high school football, this and that. I did not know it was that big of a deal, in my opinion. I just ain't know personally. Me, on the whole high school thing, yes, it's cool, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we're just complaining at this point. I feel like people are just complaining. Because are you really, loving the high school? Because if you remember in, what was it? In Madden, the long shot, when they had the whole high school thing, people did not like that. Now, granted, it was a scripted story and stuff like that, and there's other reasons why people didn't like it, but for a large part, a lot of people did not like the high school. So it's just interesting to see. It would be interesting to see if they added back, and see how people feel about it.
From schools. Now, I hope if they bring this back, which I'm pretty sure they are, I want them to make it at least a little more difficult, or maybe make it to where you can pick what star of an athlete you are, kind of like you can in 25, but instead for 26, make it to where I can play through high school as a 2-star or a 3-star, and the lower the star, the harder it would be for me to play well and get offers, whereas if I want to just be a 5-star and dominate, I could do that as well. Number 2 is cross-play for Dynasty mode. Now, we have cross-play in so many different games now, especially EA games. We have it in Madden as well. I'm not sure why this still isn't in College Football 25, but I do think there's a good chance we can see this in College Football 26. I think for the first year of the game, they didn't want to put this in potentially because of any problems that could have maybe been caused by it, because we saw that happen in Madden a couple of years ago. So I think it's something they were just waiting a little longer on before rushing it into the game. But I would hope that we could finally see this in 26, as it's already in a number of EA's other games. Number 3, I want to see the ability to create players. Yes, this sounds kind of crazy because this is standard in every sports game, but in College Football 25, we could not create players outside of the Road to Glory mode where you can only create yourself. Now, the reasoning for this did make some sense. We knew that you weren't going to be able to fully create players because now with the college players actually being licensed, they couldn't give you an opening to create a player who maybe would have opted out. Now, there was the ability to edit players, and throughout the year, they opened up more ways that you could edit them, whereas at the beginning of the year, the editing itself was also pretty restricted as well. But a few things make me think that this is possible to have full editing of a player now, or at least mostly full editing. Number one, we're 2 years into this now, and it pretty much is clear that players are not opting out. They're getting paid enough money. In fact, they're getting paid more than double what they did last year. The price is going up. So I don't really see any players holding out. Last year, no players held out as well. And throughout the year, they even added more ways that you could edit players, like being able to change their numbers and things like that. So I do think they should give us create a player this year. I can understand if they have to keep some type of a limitation in there somewhere just in case a player opts out, but you should be able to still mostly create a player and have most options available, seeing as most players are opting into the game anyway, and you could just leave one small thing out to where you couldn't perfectly replicate a player. I think if they did that, it would go over pretty well with the fans, and people want to see this. Now, we're going to continue on with the rest of the things I want to see in College Football 26, but really quickly, here's a word from today's video sponsor. It is being offered on site, so go check it out while you can. Number 4, another thing I really want to see in 26 are FCS teams. Now, this is also something that EA said at one point, or at least hinted at, coming down the line, and they did say it wasn't going to be in 25, but it was something they wanted to get in the game, but they did reiterate a bunch that the first game back, they wanted to make sure to get all of the FBS teams correct, and they still have some things to work on with some of those teams. They didn't even get all of that 100% correct because it is a lot of teams. Some things are off here or there. There's still some other things they're trying to improve on, but they did say the first game back was really more so about getting those schools right. Now that most of that is done, I think maybe now we could see the FCS teams come in because a lot of people really want to see this. They want to rebuild these teams and maybe turn them into powerhouses or whatever the case may be. Obviously, you can create these teams on Team Builder, but people want the real ones in the game, as do I, so I hope we do see this in 26. Moving on to number 5, I want to see a stadium creator for Team Builder and even possibly the ability to upgrade existing stadiums. Now, I realize that upgrading existing stadiums may be something they can't completely do because maybe schools wouldn't want that, but a stadium...
So with the whole stadium thing, right? Now, I do know with the, a lot of schools are very, precious about updating the stadium or leaking out what the newer stadium would look like in the game. So I don't know if they will be able to do that, but maybe create a stadium. That could be a thing. But then again, you have to be careful because I've said this before. You give gamers too much freedom and then lawsuits is on your hands. Okay? I'm just, hey, as a fellow player myself, if you give us just a little bit of freedom, you're going to pay for it. I'm just saying, I'm really serious because there are certain group of people that do not know how to act when they get certain type of freedom. Okay. I'm not saying for everybody is going to do this, but there's certain people and those certain people are really going to make it hard for EA to be like, you know what, let's open up the customization because they're going to do some stupid stuff. We're humans. A large chunk of us do stupid stuff on the daily, let alone in a video game. So you gotta be careful.
Stadium creator, however, I do think is something we're gonna get sooner rather than later. That has been a big rumor that's been circulating even before 25 came out. We knew it wasn't gonna be in 25. It might not be in 26 either because this is probably something that would take a lot of time to code properly. I hope we see it in 26, but if not in 26, I do think this is absolutely in the future of the game because they have a pretty good team builder when it's not being buggy on the website. It's a pretty good team builder, and the only thing that it is truly missing is a stadium creator. So I do think this would be a very big selling point for any game that it came out in because that would make people want to buy the game, especially people that love creating teams. So I know it's been a rumor, it's not confirmed, but I do hope that we see this in 26. Number 6, more team details. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, I did say earlier in the video that there were some details that they didn't get perfect about every school. Like, some of the schools don't have their exact actual runouts. They have a more generic one, whereas a lot of the big schools do have something that's similar to their actual runout. The smaller schools, you know, they couldn't do it for every single school because it takes a lot of time. So it's not that they're not going to do it, but they're going to probably build it out this year, maybe even some next year. Well, we got a lot of that in 25, but there are still more specific walkouts and intros, or just the fact that we don't have all of the mascots in the game yet. We only have 50 mascots, which I thought we would have more than that. They did say for sure that there's going to be more mascots in 26. That was definitely one of the leaks recently. So we should be seeing more team details, more uniforms. There's still a bunch of older uniforms that we could get for more teams. So this is kind of just lumping a lot of smaller things about teams into one bullet point, but I just want to see more traditions for each team represented. Number 7, more positions in Road to Glory. This is probably the other major
That
thing
one,
that's
I'm
lacking in
with
Road
you.
to Glory
I
outside
would
of the high
love
school.
to see
It's
that
just
be
not enough
expanded
positions,
more.
and this has also been a problem with Madden for years in Superstar mode. Back on the PS2, you could pretty much be any position, and then they removed some later on, and then once they brought it back recently, we've only had about 5 positions for a while now. So I'm not saying it has to be every single position, but at least open up the opportunity to be a safety, for example, or a pass rusher, or maybe a tight end. Hey, maybe even kicker, because there are people that would like to play the career of a kicker. So that would be cool. I do think you got to give us at least a couple new ones this year. You don't have to give it all, but definitely open up more positions than the ones that are already there. Number 8 is a fun one. I don't know if we'll get it, but I'd like to see fans rushing the field. And I've seen a lot of people asking about this because this is such a common thing in college football nowadays. We see it multiple.
I'm trying not to pause too much and talk too much, but the fans rushing the field. Don't they get sued for, not sued? Don't they have to pay a fine for that in real life? Like I'm not sure about the logistics of that. That would be awesome to see, but them fines, boy, they add up. Okay? They add up. I'm just saying. We seen them fines be like, oh, they gotta put shit. And it even got so bad. I forgot what school it was, but they told the students, do not, if we win the game this coming up weekend, do not rush the field. If the school has to say that, that's how you know they pockets running dry from y'all rushing the field. I love it. I love seeing it. You know, it gets me hyped. But boy, them shit. I gotta pay a fine for that though.
I think it could be cool. I don't know if it's one of those things that they would like to keep out of the game because technically, you know, you're not supposed to do it and it could be dangerous. You know, people could get hurt. So I don't know if that's something they would put in the game because of that. I'm not really sure, but I think it would be something fun to put in the game because it is something that happens a lot in real life and a lot of people have asked for this. Number 9, Dynasty upgrades. So this is kind of where I'm going to lump a few things for Dynasty mode into one. There's some things that are needed there and there's just also some other things that need to be upgraded, like the coaching carousel, for example. That's one of the parts of Dynasty this year that a lot of people felt didn't really work as good as it should have. I know that's something they're going to work on and upgrade for 26. We would like to see that. Obviously, we want to constantly see different things implemented with recruiting. We have heard some rumors earlier in the year when EA sent surveys out to players that some things they were considering for recruiting, for example, were like dynamic deal breakers or motivations so that these players could, you know, kind of change as they went throughout their college career. What was important to a player when he first signed to a school a couple years later, you know, he may shift his motivations because he's a better player. Maybe now he wants to win a national championship, thus more likely for him to transfer. So just making more things possible in recruiting to make it stand out more and make it more challenging. Also, obviously, we want to see things like the trophy room added. A lot of people want that. More storylines and things like that as well. So just hopefully we get a decent amount of Dynasty upgrades. And number 10, I really don't think we're getting this, but I have to put it on there. I would love to see a PC version of the game. I do think at some point we will get it on PC again, but just like Madden kind of took a few years before we got to see a PC version of Madden return. I do know that they probably don't like when people mod the game, but at the end of the day, for people that want to play on PC, the mods do make the game more fun. I mean, we see what the mods have done for Madden. They make it a lot more creative, and you know, it's not really EA's fault. It's out of their hands once they release the game. I don't really think they can get in trouble for it, so hopefully we do see a PC version this year, but I will admit
this is coming to the end of it, so I'm gonna talk about what he just said, that I don't think they can get in trouble for the mods that people do. Yes, they can. I forgot what game. It was a couple games that has some people that was modding it put some, like, how can I explain it? They put some no stuff in there, right? And they got sued for it. The company of the game got sued for what the modders was putting in the game. And I'm pretty sure they had to shut those servers and stuff down after that. So it's unlikely that they would get in trouble for them for like what some modders will put in the game. But depending on what they put in there and the blowback, there's a possibility that company could get sued for that. You know, because at the end of the day, it's your game. Whether it's out of your hands, oh, it was a mod, it still says your game, and then it might say mod, but it still says your game. You know what I mean? So you definitely can get in trouble for certain stuff that you didn't even know about. Now, I know I did talk a lot, but it's because it's been a little minute since we heard about. I mean, since I watched some College Football 26. News updates, whatever you want to call it. Once again, shout out to Eric Rayweather. These things that he mentioned would be really cool to see especially with the dynasty thing, because I did hear that that was like the biggest like complaint of a lot of people was like the dynasty mode wasn't as good as people expectations is was, or and like they didn't really have story. I don't, did they have storylines? I think at the beginning you had like the text, like text messages, but I don't think it was I don't think they had storylines. So it would be cool. I would love to see a storyline. Come what? Like your journey, like from high school to like I would love to see a long shot in college football. That right there, that's the one thing I want to see personally. But we shall see what will be in college football 26. Man, oh man, super excited for this. Hopefully you guys did like this video. Love you guys and see you guys in the next one.